Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to learn AWS code pipeline with ECS, and we will deploy Node.js REST API on ECS Fargate. We will be creating a Node.js app using the Express framework. So let's create one folder called Code DevOps, and we will run here npm init. You can give the package name here, but we will keep as a default. Let's press enter. Now you can see that there is a package.json file where all the information is mentioned. Now we are using the Express framework to deploy the Node.js REST API. So for that we will install the package. Now let's open this code in our VS Code. Let's create one file called index.js, and I have kept my code here in this GitHub repository. Let's copy this code, paste it, and I'm also installing the Prometheus client in our Node.js code. Let's install that package as well. Now we are dockerizing this application. Let's add Docker file. Let's copy the code from here. Let's build a code locally and test it whether it is working correctly or not. So this is a docker build command. So here I have passed the image name and dot I have given because my docker file is present on the present working directory. So let's run docker run -itd p t90. My application code is running on 8080 and node app v2. Okay, now let's do curl local host t90. It seems that our local our code is working. Now we will type let's type called /ping. Yeah, it seems that our code is working. Now we will deploy this code in our ECS using the code pipeline. Let's start with the setup of the code AWS code build. So our docker file is ready. Now we will push this docker file to our AWS ECR to set up the code pipeline. So let's start with the AWS code build setup. For that we need three things. We need to create the repository in AWS ECR, then we need to set up the provider, and then we need to set up the service role. So let's go to the ECR repository and let's create one repo here, and we will call name as node app. Repository has been created, and you can also see the view push commands if you want to push the docker image from the local repository to the AWS ECR. So these are the commands how you can authenticate in your Mac or Linux, or you can also see the commands for the Windows as well. Then let's go to the code build project. Click on the create build. Give a project name called node app code build. Then here we have to choose our GitHub provider, and already we have authenticated our GitHub using the personal access token. Okay, and this is my GitHub repository where I have pushed my code with all my docker file and the build spec YAML file, which I will explain later on in this video. Let's copy this URL and paste this one. And if we go down, we need to set up the environment. For the operating system, we will choose the Amazon Linux. For runtime, we'll choose standard, and here we need to change the standard. And it will create the new service role. You can choose your existing service role as well. And the additional information, we need to check this flag if you want to build the Docker images. Okay, and this is the build specification. So if you have kept your build spec file in any configuration, so you can give your path here. As you know that already we have put it the build spec file in the root directory, so we don't have to give any path. And we are also storing our logs. We are exporting our logs to the CloudWatch. Let's click on the create build. Let's click on the start build. So from here you can see all the details. What are the build logs, what are the phase logs, phase details you can see here. So everything you can see here. Let's click on the phase detail. You can see that we have all you can see all the jobs performed here, that submitted, queued. Now it is performing the pre-build step. So if we go to the build spec file and you can see the pre-build, you can see that we are, first of all, we are logging into the ECR. We are doing the echoing, and you can see that we are authenticating via the ECR. So if we go to the here, you can see that if you go to the build log, you can see that it is not able to authenticate with our AWS ECR due to that our service role doesn't have the ECR permission. So let's copy the service role and refresh here, and add permission. Let's type container registry. Okay, now let's rebuild it. Go to the phase details again. We go to the build logs. You can see that it is running the command. Yeah, it is now successfully building the Docker image. So whatever we have mentioned in our pre-build command. It will take a while. And you can see the Docker file has been successfully built, and now it is pushing to our AWS ECR repository. Now you can see that our image has been pushed to over there, and if we go to the ECR and if you go to the Node app, you can see that image has been pushed with the build -2 because we are taking the image tag as a code build number. Okay, now we have to set up the code deploy. So we are done with the setup of the code build. Before moving to the code deploy setup, let me explain you the build spec. So currently in the build step we have the three stages: pre-build, build, and the post-build. So in the pre-build, first it will authenticate with your AWS ECR, and in the build it will it will install the packages and will install Express and will install Prompt Client. After that, it will build the Docker event and push to the ECR. In the post-build, here we are. Here we are like printing the information to our image definition.json, which we going to use in our ECS start definition. Okay, so let's move it here. Let's create the ECS cluster. Let's name it demo cluster, and we will using the Fargate. Let's click on the create. Now we have to create the task definition. Click on the create new task definition. Give task name as node app, and we can give a container name node app container. Sorry, yeah, click on the new task definition, and here we give name called node app, node app container. Here we have to copy our repository URL. Let's click here, copy from here. Let's copy it. And tag is called build-2. Yeah, build-2. And we are running our application by 8080 port number. Let's go it by default, and we are exposing our logs to the CloudWatch. Let's click here create. Now let's create service of the start definition. Let's choose launch type. Let's give a service name called node app svc. And if you click on the networking, you can see you can also create a new security group, or you can use an existing security group. Let's click on the create. Okay, let's give the one called svc v1. And let's wait for a while to deploy the things. Let's click on the service name to retrieve the information and everything. Let's click on the task. And we will also open the security group. Because we need to allow the 8080 port number. Yeah, so 8080 port number is already allowed here. Let's go back to our cluster. So cluster is already ready. Then if we check about task, so it's deploying. You can see the logs. Yeah, so you can see that our application is up and running. If you click on the task, copy the IP, and let's hit it on our URL. Yeah, so you can see that same message we have got in our local build at that time as well. And if we do /ping, we will get the pong as response. Let's move it to the code pipeline setup. It's the final stage. With our ECS setup, now we have to set up our last stage, that is AWS Code Pipeline. So let's go to the AWS Code Pipeline service. Let's click on the create pipeline and enter the pipeline name. You can call it as Node App Pipeline. It will also create the roll up for you. Now let's click on the next. Here we have to choose GitHub version 2, and now you have to connect to your GitHub. As you see that already I have created the connection with my GitHub. This already has been done. Need to the code DevOps. Then here we need to choose the branch called master. Then we need to click on the next. Now for the building we are using code build. We have to set up the project name. We have to click on the next, and the provider will be our ECS. Now here we have to choose our cluster name, and here we need to choose our service name, and let's click on the next and click on the create pipeline. Yeah, so if you go to the pipelines once again, you can see that pipeline creation is in progress. So let's click here, and you can see that we have currently our 3 steps. This is our source, build and deploy. In the source side, if you click here, you can see the details that which repository we are using over here, and in the build you can see the logs. Okay, you can see that our Docker image build is in progress. You can see that it install the required packages like Express Prom client. Now our Docker file is ready. You can see that that we were calling the node 16.18 image, which is we got the error called pull rate limit. Okay, just give me a second. Docker file, I have removed the version from here. It will put up the latest node version. Let's scroll down, and now you can see right now that our Docker image has been ready, and now it has been pushed to our AWS ECS repository. So let's double verify by going to the ECS repository. Let's refresh here. Yeah, so build process is still in progress. Yeah, so node has been built up, and we can see, go to the ECR, let's refresh it. You can see that build for image tag has been created. So go to the code pipeline, and now you can see that our build has been done. Now it is deploying to the ECS. Okay, so let's if we see can right now that currently it is showing the welcome to the automation world. Let's change this sentence, and we will see the full flesh end-to-end CICD working pipeline of our ECS. So let's go to here, and let's change the index.js file. welcome to the CICD. I will call him welcome to CICD automation world. Let's click here to the commit changes. As you can see that our pipeline will automatically will start. See, source is ready. Let's refresh this page. Source is ready. Now it is building the Docker image. I'm pausing for the video. I'm pausing the video. Let's wait for a few minutes. Has been ready, and if we go to the ECR, you can see that build file has been created with this image tag, and let's check the whether it is deploying to the ECS or not. Let's click on the details. You can see that one container is running. Let's click on here. Let's copy the public IP. Yeah, you can see that this message has been changed to the welcome to the CICD automation one. So this is the complete CICD pipeline to deploy the NodeJS app to the ECS. So if you like my video, please subscribe my channel. Thank you.